Hey guys, and guess what? Today we're going to read a book called Who Was Thomas Alva Edison? And guess what? Well, I just got some new face masks from a box which my dad bought for me and my baby sister. Well, yeah, you know that coronavirus? Yeah, the SARS-CoV-2, or you can call it coronavirus or COVID-19. I like to call it COVID-19. Well, COVID-19 has spread all over the world. And now some of the countries have been better, but some of the country it's not better. Some of the country it's really bad. It's really their coronavirus is really bad. Then many people die. At least 5 minutes later, then die one people, and in at least one day there will be 1,000. How many of that? That's quite dangerous. So when you go out, remember to wear your mask. So I have a little mask here. I'm going to show you. So that when you wear mask, you have to be careful. You have to be wearing it in a good way, in the right way. Some people just wear it under a mouth like this. They just wear, but when you wear, you didn't wear like that. Because if you wear like that, there's just nothing to wear. Then if you don't wear it, then it's much better. Here I have a little mask, which was really little. Well, maybe this one it's a little bit of wrong or something. It's not wrong, I think, but let's see first. Yeah, it's not wrong, but some of these are a little bit wrong. That why it's only have one way, and one there's only one way and one way didn't have. Because this mask is a little problem. Okay then, so I just take this one. For how you wear this mask is really easy. Just going to wear it up here and like this, and flip it the other way, so you don't get caught coronavirus. Well, guess what? I've just got a runny nose because it's not my fault of going outside without anyone permission or something like that. Yeah, it's not my fault. When I just play outside and my family said, okay, you can go outside and play, but I accidentally missed that. It was not missed, but I accidentally go out. I accidentally got it. And I don't know why, and later my baby sister got it. When before I got this one, my baby sister also got that too. Well, she cleaned her nose every single day, so it's much better. Well, yeah, me too. When I'm got sick and maybe like that, I have to use that every single day. And now my nose is a little bit better, and guess what? My sound, it's not really beautiful. It's not really right the way that I always say, because guess what? I just got a runny nose, and I cleaned my nose 1,000 of times. Yeah, not several times. And now it's a little bit better. When I was eating this dinner, I can't smell or even taste something like that, and so I just breathe by my mouth. Well, now I can breathe by my nose now. And today we're going to have a little fun. Yeah, this one is a little problem, I think so. Okay then, let's start. Read Who Was Thomas Alva Edison? We have read into chapter 5. Turning on the light. Well, you know that Thomas Alva Edison was the one who created. Yeah, who I have to say is who created bulb light, who make bulb light. Well, I love him, and I know that he created bulb light like trains too. He create many things. And sometimes all the things he do that down the stairs, so he created his own lab down in the basement. Yeah, what we call it the silly name is that where he created something that's crazy, but we just say that for laughing, but not really for crazy. He created real. He created really the real, and it was help our life now. If it don't have bulb light, then what do we do right now? Just see darkness, or maybe someone created. Well, then let's start our lesson. Let's start reading the book and see what on the next. Let's start. Chapter 5. Turning on the light. It was the summer of 1878. Tom had been working hard for a long time. He was thinking about taking a vacation when a friend invited him to join a group of scientists. They were traveling by train to Wyoming to see an exhibit of the sun. Tom decided to go. He had been working on a machine he called a test meter for measuring temperature. He saw the trip as a chance to try it out. Tom enjoyed talking to other scientists. After that trip, he and his friend traveled on together. By train, it is said that Tom production the train engineer to let him ride on the cow catcher, the metal grate on the front of the train. This way, Tom had the best view of the spectral scenery. Wow, that's a lot of fun. Well, this one. Look at these. He just sits in here and watch the best view. Yeah, it's like a whole page for pictures. See that? Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy Thomas Alva Edison. Until the train came to a tunnel and he had to get back inside the car. At this point in his life, Tom wasn't sure what he would work on next. On the trip out west, he stood and looked at the Plate River rushing by. He wondered out loud to his friend why the power of the river flow could be used to provide electricity to miners. Nearby, they were drilling for ore by hands, and it was obviously slow, hard work. Tom's friend told him about a man who knew in Connecticut who had found an interesting way to use the power of electricity. He could send enough electricity to light up not just one arc light, but 8. An arc light makes light when an electric current jumps across the space between 2 carbon rods. The problem is that the light is harsh and bright. Arc lights also threw off sparks and could start a fire indoors. They were better suited for using outdoors. Up to now, indoor lighting came from candles, oil lamps, or gas lamps. None of them gave off enough light to do much after dark. Gaslight had been around since the early 1800s. Second, but it was expensive. Gas lamps made walls black and dirty. Sometimes it smell caused headaches. Gas could be dangerous too. If it leaked or exploded, fire might start. Still, gaslight was popular because it was the best light available. Well, guess what? Because why? It was not really dangerous. And guess what? It was have light too. And so why? And so why they and so that it's why they and so why they use gaslight. Do you know what is a gaslight? Then I'll explain. In 1816, coal gas lamps lit up a street in Baltimore, Maryland. It was the first American street to have gaslight. Later, natural gas came right out of the ground. A well 27 feet deep was drilled in Fredonia, New York in 1820. Generally, later 50, a hero of American Revolution. Visited, it was served a dinner cooked on a gas stove in a room lit by a gaslight. It was a marvel on its day. Well, see, that's really crazy. So let's start. Back to our work and back to the stories. It could be found in homes, office, factory, and outdoor in larger towns and cities around the country. Tom was eager to see how the man in Connecticut was using electricity to light up his 8-arc light. He was surprised and interested to find out that the man was not using batteries, but a small generation made out of magnet and coin and coils of wire. Tom was very impressed with an 8-arc light, but he went home knowing that if he was to succeed with an electric light, he had to develop a simple light bulb which gave up a bright, soft glow from a heat filament or material inside the bulb. This was known as incandescent lighting. Tom was all fired up to work on the electric light. He knew that other people around the world were working on this too. He wanted to be the first to succeed. But he knew that inventing a working light bulb wasn't enough. He had to invent one arc light. Light is produced when an arc of electricity jumps between two charged conductors. It was too bright, smelly, and expensive for use in homes and office. That could be sold at a price people could afford. Well, yeah. Tom also knew that he would have to figure out how to provide the electrical power to light up the whole neighborhood, whole cities, in fact, the whole country. That meant building power plant to provide the electricity. Never shy about talking about his invention, Tom wrote in his notebook, "The electric light is the light of the future, and it will be my light unless some other fellow gets up a better one." It wasn't long before Tom was boasting to reporters that he would have an electric light already in weeks. Not only that, he built a power station on Pearl Street in Manhattan. It would bring electric light to a whole section of New York City. The area he chose was the center of the city's finest district. Why would Tom make such an announcement? He still had no idea how he could do this. Maybe he wanted to scare off other inventors. Maybe he did it to attract investors. Tom needed a lot of money to make this all happen. And so he did. He made it all happen, like in this book, like the outside of this book. Well, okay, let's start back. Well, he got the money from rich man in New York City. Maybe this genius was about to put the gas companies out of business. The new electric lights might make lots of money. They didn't want to be left out, so before Tom even had anything to show, investor founded the Edison Electric Light Company. Tom always loved having a visitor at his lab in Menlo Park. He loved showing off his inventions, especially to reporters. Now all that changed. He didn't want anyone coming over. He had bragged about electric light almost as if it excited already, and it didn't. He hadn't even applied for a patent to protect his ideas. Tom and his boys settled in for some long, hard work. First and most importantly, they had to make a bulb that was vacant. That meant to no oxygen. A gas in the air we breathe could be left inside the bulb. A filament would glow much longer if it heat up in vacuum. Tom hired a fantastic glass bowler who could give him almost perfect hollow bulbs. And luckily, at about this time, a vacant pub had been invited. It could suck almost all the air out of the bulbs. The hardest thing turned out of finding the right filament or material that could carry electric current and glow for long times inside the bulb. There were other problems too. The lights could not be wired in a series or one to the other along the same wire. Why? If one went out, they all did. 6 weeks came and went. What about the neighborhood in New York? The one Tom said he was going to light up. Newspaper began writing stories accusing Tom of bragging. Oh my God. Okay, look at this picture that they are making light bulb. Yeah. Well, Tom was still searching for the right flammer. He tried so many materials: fish lime, bamboos, spiderweb, even the hair from one of his workers' head. For a while, he thought the planium was going to work, but even if it had, it would be too expensive to use. Look at this. He drew out some of the thing. He drew out some of the thing in this page that you can see that I'm reading for you. Literature with it jute, tissue paper, carbon dioxide 3, fishing line, human hair, bast, spiderweb, coconut fiber, bamboos. See that? Yeah, it's quite a little bit of hard work to make a light bulb. Maybe it's another years to make it. Yeah, I think so. Sometimes Tom would take time out to play a tune with 2 fingers to the organ he had to put in the laboratory. Maybe it helped him think. The boys kept testing everything they could think of, over 3,000 materials in all. Tom knew that finding out what did not work was important as finding what did. A year and a half went by. Nothing. But Tom did not give up, and one day he hit upon the answer. It was a simple sewing 3, covered in carbon, and baked to use just the right temperature. On October 22, 1879, Tom's light bulb glowed for 13 and a half hours. The next one glowed over 100 hours. Tom and his team were ecstatic. They had done it. Tom was only 32 years old. Well, see that? It's so amazing. And here's what the light bulb looked like, and I'm reading it for you. Inside a light bulb, in a particle vacuum, one electric current sent through 2 wires connected by carbonized cotton thread 3 filament. As the filament heats up, a glow product light. Wire space glass bulb. Yeah, he made it. He just made it. Yeah. Tom set up electric light in Menlo Park for the December holiday season. They were powered by new generation in the machine shop. It had 2 5-foot-high magnets and weighed over 500 pounds. Over 3,000 people poured into Menlo Park to see what the wizard had done now. Wizard is Thomas Alva Edison. Yeah. They came by train and walked along the boardwalk to the laboratory. They looked up in amazement at the 100 lamps glowing all along the way. Once inside, they were stunned by the room lit up with electric light. The the dinner room in the Pearl Street Power Station, New York City, on September 4, 1882. Yeah, this is this. Now Tom turned to lighting up part of New York City. He needed our power plant lines running underground, switches, meters, light fixture, and many other things to keep his promise. It would take another 2.5 years, but on September 4, 1882, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a switch was thrown at the Central Station on Pearl Street. In the Wall Street office of one of his important investors, Tom turned on all 106 new office lamps for the very first time. Tom knew that this was only a beginning. One day his electric light would be useful all over the world. And so it did! And it was right now! A whole world is using this light. Yeah, everyone is using it. Now let's read chapter 6 to find out something more. I'm so excited to see how it happened. Chapter 6, Making Moving Pictures. Wow. In 1884, at the height of his successes, Tom suffered a terrible loss. His wife Mary died from an illness. Oh, that's sad. Well, she was only 29 years old. Tom had his children stay in New York City. His electricity business was there. He wanted to spend as much time as possible with Marion, now 12. Thomas, now 8, and little William was only 5. Then, in 1885, Tom met a young woman named Minna Miller. Her family was from Ohio. Minna's father was a millionaire businessman, an inventor who made development a very successful machine for harvesting grain. He himself received 92 patents in his lifetime. Tom fell in love with Minnie almost at once. She was interesting and educated. He even taught her Morse code so that they could talk to each other secretly, even among friends. It is said that Tom tapped out, "Will you marry me?" on the palm of her hand, and Minnie tapped back, "Yes." Minnie and Tom were married in 1886 and moved to a grand home, Glenmont in West Orange, New Jersey. "It is a great deal too nice for me, but it isn't half nice enough for my little wife here," Tom said. Tom and Minna was very happy together. He was still at work as much as he had been when Mary was alive, but since Minna's father was also an inventor, perhaps she had understood Tom's world better. Still, it wasn't easy. So, for 20 years old, Minna became a young mother of 3 children, nor it was easy for Marion, who was now 14 and had become a combination to her father. Years later, she said Minna was too young to be a mother to me, but too old to be a chum. Minna and Tom had 3 children, Madeleine, Charlotte, and Theodore. Holidays above all were a time when Tom loved being at home with a large family. Minna planned lavish parties for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter, but the 4th of July was all Tom's. Everyone had to go outside very early, even before breakfast, for the fireworks that Tom had made himself after breakfast, and naps for younger children. They rushed out for more activities, like picnics of watermelons and ice creams, and so it went on into the evening, ending with another enormous display of fireworks. Unlike Mary, Minna loved having company. She gave large dinner parties, which Tom often tried to avoid by pretending to be sick. Their guest book was filled with names of famous people: airplane pilot Orville Writer, author and lecturer Helen Keller, who was blind and deaf and deaf for the age of 2. And automobile maker Henry Ford. He wrote at the end of his day, two of the best days I ever spent. Moving to Glenmount made Tom decided to leave his Menlo Park laboratory. He built a new laboratory complex. He wanted to be in the best in the world. I will have the best equipment and largest factory ready for rapid and cheap development of an invention, Tom declared. Tom had never forgotten his wish to give people they wanted because of his great successes with the electric light. He had the money, the power, and the influence to do. The West Orange complex opened in November 1887. It had a laboratory building 3 stories high. There were a physical lab, a chemistry lab, and a private lab just for Tom where he could focus and think without interruption. But for Tom, the center of West Orange was a large library with 2 galleries, a 40-foot ceiling, walls full of photographs, and claves and shelves filled with 10,000 books and magazines from all around the world. Here Tom and his desk and comfortable table, and it was here Tom met a public man, investor, inventor, and reporters and editor. West Orange was 10 times larger than Menlo Park, and at one time had as many as 10,000 workers. At any one time, as many as 30 companies work on projects run by teams directed by Tom. Along with new ideas, Tom never lost interest in improving his baby, the phonograph. He might wander away from it and work on the other invention, but he always came back to it. Not everything was a success. One of the things the boys talked to Tom into making was a talking doll from Boston Company. A small cylinder was put inside the 2-foot tall doll. A handle to turn the cylinder came out her back. The talking doll worked fine in the factory, reciting poems and popular nursery rhymes, but when she reached the stores, nothing. All the thumping and bumping along the way had disturbed the management. Most of the doll never said a word. Let's get back. In August 1889, Minna and Tom sailed to Paris for the Universal Exhibition. This was like a big fair for showing new products from many countries. There was a huge Edison display. His phonograph was most popular attraction. Only the new Eiffel Tower, with the highest structure in the world at that time, had more visitors. The Eiffel Tower. Well, you know that it is in Paris. Yeah, La Tour Eiffel stands 984 feet high over the city of Paris. It took their 100 men and 2 years to build it. It is made of 15,000 pieces of iron, held together by 2.5 million rivets. It could be 40 tons of paint or needed to cover the tower, which remained the tallest structure in the world until 1930. Oh, my nose! When this Crystal Building, soon followed by the Empire State Building, was erected in the New York City. The Eiffel Tower was completed in 1889 for the 100 years anniversary of the French Revolution. Gustave Eiffel design won the competition from among the 700 and tricentennial. Some years earlier, he had designed the iron skeleton representing the state. Okay, let's start back. It could stay almost 5 inches in strong winds. 40 tons of paint are needed to cover the tower, which remained the tallest. The Eiffel Tower was complete in 1889 for the 100-year anniversary of the French Revolution. Gustave Eiffel design won the competition from among the 700 interested sent in. Some years earlier, he had designed the iron skeleton for the inside of the Statue of Liberty, and he survived it for the raising of his famous lady in New York Harbor in 1886. Photographic gun. During this trip, Tom visited a French man whose photographic gun and captured animal in motion, such as birds in fight. Tom was interested in moving pictures in October 1888. He had written, "I am experienced open. Kinestoscope, an instrument which does of the eyes, but the photograph does for the ears. This operator called kinetoscope, moving view." Thomas pioneered in developing a system for filming and showing moving pictures. His kinetoscope was a camera which took pictures. His kinetoscope provided a way to looking at them. In 1893, the first motion picture studio in America was built at West Orange. He named it the Black Maria. Let's start back. Photograph. The first successful photographic progress from the dangerous type named after Frenchman Louis Touretin in 1837. It produced a detailed black and white pictures and was to serve as a mirror with a memory. The next important breakthrough came in 1851 when a British photographer, Frederick Scott Archer, discovered a way to make as many prints as he wanted to have in the matter. Then, in 1888, American George Eastman introduced the quarter box camera. It was easy to carry around, so photographer didn't have to stay in an indoor studio with a... Oh my gosh, not again. Wait a little. Back to work. With a dark room nearby. It was cheap and easy to operate it, and the roll of accelerated a plastic film could take 100 black and white photographs. This film made it impossible for Edison to make moving pictures. About 50 feet long, the Black Maria was a weird-looking structure. It had slanted roof that opened up with a pulley to let in the sun. It sat in Black Maria, around platforms with track like railroad track, and moved around in a circle following the path. Filming in Black Maria started in 1893. An early film showed a man sneezing performed happily by a mechanic who worked at West Orange. The first boxing match. That is quite hard. A little bit brief. Instead of a round platform with a track like railroad track and move around in a circle, following the path of the sun. Filming in Black Maria started in 1893. An early film showed a man sneezing performed happily by a mechanic who worked on West Orange. The first boxing match ever filmed started heavyweight champion Cancel. Man Jim Corbett Edison also filmed dance groups, sculpted clowns, jugglers, and even the World Structure Man. When Buffalo Bill's Wild West show came to town, Shopscuba Amy Oakland was filmed there too. Most were short pieces of elastic, about 20 or 30 seconds. One of the first stories filmed at West Orange was about 5 firemen. They were woken up by a fire alarm and rushed off from a firehouse to a fire. They saved a baby and put out the fire. There wasn't any sound, still people were excited to look at it. Tom Main's interest in movies was making better equipment like his kinetoscope and his kintograph. But as time went on, he drifted away to work on other ideas. He was not as closely involved as he had been with the phonograph and the light bulb. He offered suggestions to his team, but he let them do a lot of ideas and improvement without him. Eventually, he decided to get out of the movie business. Well, I think it's enough for today. We have reached Chapter 5. In Chapter 6. Okay then, so in Chapter 5 is about of the successes of Edison. He made something. He made what? Well, whoa, it's amazing that he made light bulb. Like what he do, it up there in the background over there. That is pretty beautiful, isn't it? I see that over there. And guess what? In Chapter 6, at the beginning, it's a little bit sad. Why? Actually, well, his wife died. Yeah, she only 29, but she died, and so Thomas Alva Edison have to marry other girls. Which was other girls, and she was Mary. Oh yeah, Mary is his old wife. And his new wife, it's what? I don't remember her name. But not like Mary, she liked to have a big parties. And she have others as the millionaire. So you see that you still can do it by yourself when you're working hard, when you try your best. So when you do something, just tell yourself you can do it and you will do it. So always remember that, and also have fun. And remember to always do the thoughtful about yourself, and you